Hello. Welcome everyone to another episode of the Mignon Show. I am your host, Mignon, and as you can see, I have my beautiful guest here at the table, Veronica. Welcome.
Hello. Thank you so much for having me.
You're so welcome. She is the executive director of My Girlfriend's House and Not a Runaway. So she is here. We got some amazing information for you guys. You guys know we have our huge mother-daughter brunch coming up this Saturday, and we are so excited. We're going to talk about that and just talk about how the organizations came together to even plan such a phenomenal event, and also a much-needed event to have the most important conversation on teen dating violence. But you guys, you know that before we talk about all of that, we have our girl chat. And so also I just want to give a shout out to my co-host Roz. She is not here tonight because she's a little under the weather, but we want to continue to pray for her and wish her a speedy recovery. So Roz, you know I love you, girl. So Veronica, hello again.
Hello.
Hello. So this part of our segment, we do our girl chat, just talk about what we did for the weekend, things of that nature. So how was your weekend?
I don't have a life.
Well, you stay so busy.
I don't have a life.
You stay so busy.
I feel like I work all the time, and then when I'm at home, all I want to do is sleep. You know, but I mean, I still, even in my doing nothingness, I think I was still kind of pretty busy.
Absolutely.
You know, I run a leadership program for teen girls, so I spent all day Saturday empowering my babies to make better decisions and just become stronger, bolder women. Then Saturday evening, I had a volunteer appreciation event at my house that you came to.
It was amazing.
So that was fun. Just a good way, since so many hands go into making us look good in the community through the work that we do. Just wanted to do a small token of appreciation and just say thank you to everyone who's had any kind of hand in helping us move forward.
Absolutely. And it was amazing.
Thank you for coming.
Oh, you're so welcome.
Yeah.
Thank you for inviting me. It was a great cause because everyone know I did talk about here on the Mignon Show when I was out in the community doing the shelter makeover. This is the phenomenal woman who put all that together. And so she had an appreciation party on Saturday at her amazing home for all the volunteers and everybody, and it was really, really nice. It just goes to show,
it was powerful.
you know,
200 and almost 45 people gave up their Saturdays over a 5-hour course of time to renovate a shelter that houses 14 families that have been misplaced through domestic violence.
Absolutely. So kudos to you.
Yeah, thank you.
Kudos
thank you
to
for coming
you.
out.
Yes, and you have been doing this for a while.
Oh yeah, 10 years. It's just one of my callings. I believe to whom much is given, much is expected. So I feel obligated to help as many people in the community as I possibly can.
Absolutely.
As long as I can.
And you definitely do that.
Yeah.
I tell you guys, she's like she runs a tight ship too. She runs a tight ship. She is very detail oriented. And she definitely know how to bring a team together and support them. It was just so amazing to just sit back and just watch you in action.
Yeah.
It was amazing. Met a lot of phenomenal people there that day, a lot of families, and it just shows how important it is that for us to come together.
Absolutely, I agree. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. So that was it of your weekend. Did you do anything Sunday?
No, Sunday I was exhausted. I take naps.
Me too. Me too.
So Sunday I slept in late, then woke up, took a nap, and I think it was like a 3-hour nap. And when I woke up, forgot that the time had even changed. You know, just long enough to eat dinner, watch some movies, and go right back to sleep.
That's my type of day. I love watching movies, eating, and not getting out the bed.
It was a Netflix and chill day.
Yes.
Yeah.
I love that. Well, my weekend, starting on Friday, I went to an event with Mayor Muriel Bowser in D.C., then at the John Wilson Building. I was down there with my nephew. He's a kidpreneur. He has a platform for bullying. He has an anti-bullying platform. So he's basically trying to get 20,000 students to sign his anti-bullying pledge to be bully-free. So I was actually down there with him. He was honored as one of the kidpreneurs because Mayor Bowser had stated that in D.C. that November 1st will be Kidpreneur Day. So it was amazing. It was really
awesome.
nice.
How old is he?
He's 10.
That's awesome. Okay.
He's 10 years old. He's been doing this for 2 years. He also created his own comic book series in reference to bullying. So, I mean, it's just amazing what he's doing. And this weekend he will be in New Jersey doing a big kidpreneur conference up there. So it was amazing. I love him and his journey and everything that he has been on to cease bullying because, you know, it happened to him.
Stories like that. Amazing kids doing amazing works to continue to save their peers. That's powerful.
Absolutely.
Future leaders.
Future leaders. And so I had an awesome time with him there. Met a lot of kidpreneurs that I am definitely looking to bring on the show to highlight them with their movement and different businesses that they have. And it just goes to show that, you know, when we support the children and we bring them together, you know, just the things that they can do.
Yeah.
It's just the thing. And so now it's like with this organization, I think it's the National Association of Kidpreneurs. And so what she's doing, her name is Tamika. She's the president. She's going around the country talking to different mayors of each cities and getting them together to acknowledge how important it is to support the youth.
I love it. I love that.
Absolutely, yeah. So it's a lot of things,
That's
a lot
awesome.
of big, huge things that so many people are doing, and we just have to stay connected with them and be able to support as much as we can.
I'm down for that.
Okay.
I like to see kids doing positive things in the community.
Absolutely, absolutely. And Saturday, nothing but went to Veronica's party. Had me a nice time. I'm telling you, I had a wonderful time there. And Sunday, what did I do Sunday? I don't really think I did much of anything Sunday. It was just
A sleeping
Netflix,
kind of day.
Netflix and chill.
And naps.
Yes. And then Sunday night, I was here last night because one of my clients, Pastor Fisher, him and his wife Patrice, they started their first show last night on Vox Wave. So I was here last night doing that. And it was an amazing show. You guys definitely got to tune in on Sunday nights at 8:30 to check him out. I guarantee you will not regret it. Okay? And so we're here today. So I'm just excited. I'm excited about this weekend. We have a huge event for mothers and daughters. And I have just been hearing so much about it. People just saying they wanted to come, but they don't have tickets.
Tickets are sold out.
Tickets are sold out.
Event is sold
The
out.
event is sold out. They'll catch the next one.
You can catch the next one. It's something we're going to do every single year. We started this last year, so I don't see us stopping anytime soon.
It's growing. It's going to get bigger and bigger and bigger. So next time, guys, when we put the information out there, do not wait. When you see it, get your ticket as soon as possible because you definitely need to be in the room, especially a lot of these organizations out here that mentor young girls. You guys definitely have to be in the place. being able to give them more resources in the community to be able to support them in the things that they need. So guys, what we're going to do, we're going to take a quick break. And when we come back, we're going to dive into this interview with Miss Veronica. When I tell y'all, y'all going to hear all the amazing things that she has going on. Y'all going to definitely want to partner with her. And also because her organization, My Girlfriend's House, she is actually looking for female mentors. So you guys going to have to partner with her to be able to fulfill those slots with those young girls. So guys, we'll be right back.
Y'all ready to move a little bit here? It's been a long time ill. Hey, I watch a part of it. We're gonna start off in cruise control for you, baby. A nice and easy fella. Gonna do this for all the sexy Aquarians in here. Happy birthday to you, baby. Let the pocket watch here. Happy birthday to Miss Sabrina. Yes, right, baby. What you say, baby? I'm coming to you. And Mr. Danny got a birthday. Happy birthday to you, Danny. What you got for me, baby? A big paw. Happy B-Day to Big Paw. Watch the pocket watch here. And Lauren got a birthday. That's coming from the sexy Troy. Too smooth, Troy. That's right. That's right. Shout out to all the sexy Aquariuses in here. All right. Hey, I Bella Donna, watch the clock do the work. He's up on him, Cherie. Sweet Cherie, baby. Yes, indeed. Hey.
Take the lead tonight, who it's gonna be. I'm gonna sit right here, tell you all that comes to me. If you have something to say, you should say it right now. You're right. You give me a feeling that I've never felt before, and I deserve it. You know I deserve it. It's becoming something that's impossible to ignore. It is what we make it, but I was wondering maybe if I make you my baby, if we do the unthinkable, would it make us look crazy? Well, if you ask me, I'm ready. I'm ready. Well, if you ask me, I'm ready. I know you have said to me, this is exactly how it should do. It's meant to be. Time is of the earth, so why wait for eventually? If we gon' do something right, we should do it right now. Yeah. Oh, you give me.
You okay?
Okay, guys, thank you, and welcome back. And also for the ones that's watching right now on YouTube, please subscribe to the channel. That way you'll be able to keep up with all the things that the Mignon Show has going on. So as I said, I have Veronica here, and she's the executive director of My Girlfriend's House and Not a Runaway. So we're basically going to just sit here and chit-chat and talk about how 3 organizations are coming together to drive home the message of teen dating violence. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to read a little bit about both organizations, My Girlfriend House and Not a Runway. So My Girlfriend House, Inc. is a nonprofit organization whose mission is to empower underserved young ladies into developing a positive understanding of self-worth, while enhancing their academic and career skills. Amazing.
That's right.
That is amazing. So also Not a Runway, Inc. not a runaway. You didn't say runaway?
I heard you. I was just going to let it slide.
It gets like that when we live. I'm telling you, you be reading something, your mind's saying something else.
Okay.
Not a Runaway, Inc. is a nonprofit organization founded after a teenager went missing and was labeled a runaway, only to be found murdered less than a mile from home. Her boyfriend was arrested and charged with her murder. He was sentenced to life without the possibility of parole. And also the Lakeisha Brown Foundation. That is the organization that I created in honor of my daughter. So the Lakeisha Brown Foundation is dedicated to the eradication of teen dating violence while promoting self-love, healthy relationships, strong families, and thriving communities. And so all three of these amazing organizations have come together to tackle teen dating violence.
It takes a village.
So
we have to pull everybody in to make this happen.
We do, because, you know, with doing this work, Veronica, and I know you can definitely attest to this, is that we can't do it by ourselves.
No. I mean, it takes a village. Kids, teenagers, they don't always receive information the first time you give it to them. So kind of like how we as adults watch commercials and they tell you a good commercial tactic is to have multiple hits in order for someone to even react. The same thing happens with our children. So they hear this at school. They probably hear this at home. They probably heard this with their family members. Then they hear it from mentors like us and women like you in the community. And the more they hear that repeated message, the more it sticks to their brain, so that hopefully if anything like this was to begin to happen to them, they would remember the signals and walk away.
So, you know, all the time, you know, most of the time when people get into the type of work that we're in, there's usually some story or something that goes along with that. What made you get into mentoring young girls?
All right, so I'm a consultant by trade. I've been doing that for like 24 years with the Department of Defense, and at some point, you know, you call yourself successful, but you really can't be successful until you can count how many people you've helped up with you. And so in the beginning, when I actually started my girlfriend's house, it's kind of a funny story. I don't think I've ever told you this. So it was me and a group of me and a group of women friends of mine. We're all successful. We feel like we work just so our pets can have a home. You know, those kind of women. And so at some point I was like, listen, we need to do something more productive in the community. Let's start to do social work or service work. So we started volunteering in area shelters and group homes, and the understanding was we were going to teach these adult women career, you know, information like resume, how to write, how to talk. But somewhere in that midst, we walked into this one shelter in Fort Meade, Sarah's house, and there was a whole bunch of teenage girls just roaming the hallway. And I remember looking over at the executive director and saying, are the Girl Scouts in town? What are these kids doing here? And then that's when I understood that these kids actually lived in those facilities. Suddenly, I realized everything we had been doing, we were doing it backwards. We were starting with the adult as opposed to starting with the seed. And so at that point, you know, I sat back down again, being the perpetual entrepreneur that I am, and you know, I'm sitting back going, all right, no, we have to do this differently. It's wrong. So we reinvented ourselves and decided that we wanted to mentor teenage girls to teach them those life skills and social skills that they needed to become successful women who can then maybe pay it forward to the next generation of girls in their lifetime. And that's actually how this came about, and that was 10 years ago. So the idea behind my girlfriend's house is that we are preventative, leadership building girls. You know, we want to teach them, you know, everything they need to know to become the next Mrs. Obamas or to create their own futuristic legacy. So I like to look at my girlfriend's house as a preventative program because we are very rigid in what we allow the girls to be able to get into in terms of just disciplinary action. Like pregnancy is a no-no, getting kicked out of school is a no-no, getting a truancy or a juvenile delinquency record is a no-no. All of those are just making it a little bit difficult for the girls to reach the level of leadership we need them to quickly be able to get to. So as a result, to stay in the program, they have to follow certain rules. And so for 10 years, that's what we've been doing in Capitol Heights, is just empowering them to just continue to think differently.
Oh my goodness, that is amazing. It's so powerful what you said about the preventive side of it. Because with me doing domestic violence, when I started, I was on the reactive side. I was taking all the calls of, people escaping domestic violence and being able to provide them with resources. But then I got to that part burnt me out because I didn't see the change that I wanted to see. So it burnt me out. And so when I went back and I started praying, I was asking God, He started giving me revelation of being on the preventive side of it, and that I had to go and talk to the younger girls to be able to show them that even if they're not even dating, so they can understand what does a healthy relationship look like.
Right, because a lot of that, especially with our young girls of color, to be very specific, it starts with self-love, and somewhere in the middle, we've been told that, brown girls are not beautiful.
Right.
And even in our brownness and in all our curvaceous ways, we still find reasons to find flaws within ourselves. Like, why is my hair not as curly as hers? Why is it not as long as hers? Why do I not look like her? Why is my nose different? So there's all of these issues that build up in one to make her start to not like herself. As a result, a lot of other problems start to pop up. Teenage pregnancy falls into the loop because of her insecurities in herself. The first time anybody says you are gorgeous,
absolutely,
we're getting pregnant. All right, that's where drugs come in. The first time somebody says you don't need school for this, come on, kick it with us, you'll be cool. She's out of school. The next time somebody wants to shoplift, the next time somebody wants to hit on her. So all of these are a symptom of low self-esteem. And so for me, and from the preventative side of it, I felt like being able to keep our girls so busy and focused on their future trajectory was so critical to kind of like eradicating a lot of these other issues that you and I are now trying to combat and that we continue to see in our community. And so when I see parents that keep their children super active, those parents are doing the exact same thing that we're doing on a micro level with their children, which is we're keeping them so busy that hopefully there's no time for future distractions that can lead into other problems that can impact their future potential.
And that is huge.
And that's
because
huge.
A lot of idle time is what caused a lot of the children to get into things, even me myself, when thinking about when I was a teenager. Too much idle time is when you get involved in things that you're not supposed to.
I mean, I've had girls flat out tell me if they didn't come to mentoring, they'd stay at home and just smoke something and do something. And when they keep it real with you like that, you have to respect and appreciate their honesty because that's what we want. But at the end of the day, when I hear stuff like that, my job is to then make sure she has an even busier schedule. So again, that's really the idea behind my girlfriend's house. And when I made that commitment as a professional woman to want to empower these girls, the goal was not just a let's meet once a month kind of deal. We meet with these girls 50 weeks a year. There is no escaping me, because at that moment in time, yes, they're going to have a life, but because we recognize that we become their lives, we have social activities, we have social activities, sleepover, sisterhood activities, self-building activities. So we build everything into like a wraparound 360 program so that she feels completely safe. And this is her home.
Absolutely. And I'm so glad you brought that up, too, because I always talk about a lot of the programs where there's just not enough time in these programs to get to know the girls or young men before they're pushing them along to some other program.
Exactly.
And so a lot of times the children will sit in those programs and have a mask on. You don't even know who you're dealing with. And so with you being able to be there in their life for a whole year, you get to watch them go through different things.
Oh, we see it all.
Yes.
We see it all.
But that's what it's going to take. And then they end up trusting you. That's what it's about, the trust.
Yeah.
They trust you with that. You know them.
Yeah, I'm like a big sister or a big auntie. So that works. I get to hear all the stories the parents don't hear, and then we translate that into a positive reaction. What can we do differently next time?
Absolutely.
So that's what my girlfriend's house does. And then 2 years ago, I started Not a Runaway.
Yes.
My niece, Jolie Musa, went missing. And when she went missing for 2 weeks, the police were telling us she was a runaway, she was a runaway, she was a runaway. They say it to you so much that you almost want to believe it, but you know who your child is, and you know your child is not a runaway. And so the organization is called Not a Runaway to pay homage to the fact that they were trying to disparage her when she was missing. Now, you fast forward 2 weeks later, and Jolie's found murdered And the only question you want to ask is, do you guys still think she ran away? You know, and that's a slap in the face when your child goes missing. And so it created an interesting dilemma for me, because it was like, you know, I'm fighting for this child of mine, and now everyone is saying that she did this thing, like run away. Run away from what? And, you know, when most of our children run away, they're running away from a situation, or they're running away to a situation. But this was neither our case. And so for 2 weeks, we didn't really understand what was going on. All we knew was that she was missing. And so 2 weeks later, we found her, and she was less than a mile from home and had been murdered. Now, as it starts to come out through investigation, we discovered that she was a victim of teen domestic violence. And that really hit to the core of everything, because at that moment in time, I'm sitting here going, wow, I have this preventative program that's been teaching and empowering girls in our community, just like my niece, for 10 years to just be better, smarter, stronger. How did we miss this piece? And then it hit me that in all of our self-esteem building, leadership building, you know, self-empowerment building, there were some conversations we never talked about. And domestic violence was one of them, because, you know, domestic violence doesn't happen to girls like my girl.
Right.
They don't happen to people like us. We're
Right.
good people.
Yes.
You know? That's just for those bad kids with their bad parents in those bad neighborhoods. I had no idea that while I'm sitting here talking to a whole bunch of strangers' kids about how to love themselves and be better versions of themselves, I had a niece at home that needed a similar message, and I didn't know she needed that message. And so in the end, when I created the organization Not a Runaway, it's really just in her legacy to say, you know, I might have failed her because she was going through such a situation. And, you know, statistics now tell me that, you know, 80 to 90% of the families don't know their kids are going through that.
That's right.
I'm sure you didn't know.
No.
And when we finally found this out and learned all the hard facts, then it was now like I'm reacting. I couldn't prevent it before because we didn't even know it was an issue to be discussed in a leadership training program. But now on the proactive side of it, on the reactive side of it, you know, now it's like, okay, it's happened. How do we prevent this from moving forward?
Absolutely.
And so what I'm discovering is that those two services, those two organizations work hand in hand, because while one is preventative, the other one is reactive, so we can push policy and try to create more meaningful change in our community and even have those tougher conversations that we can't necessarily have with the regular My Girlfriend's House platform. And so when we do something like this teen domestic violence programming, it really hits home, because I'm not, you know, embarrassed to say I am one of those parents who never thought this was an issue. When you hear about domestic violence, especially during the month of awareness, which is October, you just think of the older people, the adults, the mature ones. Our kids, they're way too young to be caught up in stuff like this. Our kids, they're way too cool to let some guy hit on her and then hang around. But then as you go through this process, Mignon, and you hear these stories like Jolie's and Lakeisha's and all those beautiful little girls that are no longer with us, you start to realize that it's a much bigger issue than we even realize.
Absolutely.
And just because our girls didn't bring those issues to us didn't make it less of a reality.
That's true.
It was still happening.
It was still happening. It was still happening. And that's why it's huge what you said about being that parent and not knowing, because the stats do tell us that 82% of parents don't even realize that it's an issue with teens.
85.
And they're younger. They're 12
It starts
years
at 12
old.
years old.
12 years old.
And, you know, and that's just when she's starting to figure out who she is.
Yep.
At 12 years old, she's breaking out in acne. She's developing into the woman. She's starting her cycle. All of these hormones are running through her body. And at 12 years old, she's thinking she found something called love.
Yes. Yes. Absolutely. So that's why it's so important. That's why it's so important for us and what we're doing this weekend.
Yeah.
We're bringing the mothers and the daughters together.
Now, what's really cool about this, and I don't know if you know this, is that the girls in My Girlfriend's House, the mentees that I have there, they're the ones who actually designed this whole program.
Yes.
So what I do as a facilitator / leader is I plant the seed, like, listen, girls, And our girls are 11 to 17, so I'm like, look, this is what we're trying to do. And those girls like found the skits that they wanted to memorize. They've come up with the poems they want to regurgitate. They've designed the kind of activities they want us to do. They were really adamant about being instrumental. They didn't want this to be yet another parent platform where we reprimand and we lecture and they just sit there like want.
And that is huge.
And that's huge.
That's huge.
Even like on Saturday when I was telling them, guys, we've sold out the tickets. They wanted to rush to the venue and take one final look so that we can re-sketch the floor plan. So it's things like that. And then even during our exploration these past couple of months on learning this subject matter for them, if we went anywhere and they saw something, they'd be like, Miss V, go get that person's phone number. Let's call them later because we might want them to come say something at our event. And again, I think I like the angle of peers getting involved in advocacy work to help their peers because, their voices are louder than any of ours will ever be.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That is very important that they get the message from their peers. So it's amazing of what you're teaching them. That way they can go back to their peers and share with them, the girls that's not in the program, what's going on and how you deal with teen dating violence, because we know that when it happens to them, more likely their girlfriend would know before their mom knows.
Exactly.
So we got to be able to give the girlfriends the tools to be able to help them and support them. So that is a huge piece right there.
Yes, I'm really, really excited about that piece because I think, again, on Saturday when my girls they've spent the past 2 months learning everything they could learn about teen domestic violence, for them to stand in front of the room and speak to their peers on what they're learning with the support of solid adult facilitators behind them to communicate that message, I think is going to be key to our success. So I'm really thankful to all of our amazing sponsors that came to the table. I know the Lakeisha Brown Foundation came forth and, gave us some money to make this possible, to bring it to the community. All of our parents in the mentoring program, they all invested money to just make it possible for us to bring this to our community. And I'm excited about what's about to happen.
I am excited about what's about to happen. I think we're gonna be in awe this weekend, because it's gonna be so amazing. And I really believe that so many lives are gonna be changed, and not only the teens, but I believe that the moms will too, because just being able to bring them in a setting to sit down and just learn how to have that conversation with their daughters, because I know even like for me and my generation, a lot of those mom and daughter relationships, they wasn't had.
They don't. A lot of parents don't talk to their kids. I mean, we talk to our kids about drugs. We talk to our kids about, avoiding guns and violence and everything. We talk to them about driving safely under the influence or not under the influence. We talk about curfews and the boogeyman. But you know what we don't talk about is that boogeyman who says he loves you.
Yep.
We don't talk about him. And then the sad part is a lot of parents have also gone through domestic violence themselves.
Yes.
But unfortunately, what do? We do it behind closed doors.
Behind closed doors.
And we don't talk about it.
Sweep it under the rug.
And that's it.
And we just hoping that it'll get better.
Right, and we're thinking the kids don't hear all of that. Okay, don't mind your business, baby. It's got nothing to do with you. It's just grown folk stuff.
And
kids,
I tell parents, I be like, you don't live in soundproof homes. They hear everything what's going on. And a lot of times you're thinking just because you send them to the room because you're having this altercation and argument that they're not tuned into that. They're not in there playing and watching TV. They are in there zoned into what's being said by the adults.
And you have that child thinking, I can't give this to mom. She's got her own drama to deal with.
Yep.
Let me deal with this on my own. That's hard.
Yep. It is hard.
And sometimes, a lot of the times, the end result is deadly. So we really need to have these conversations. And so our platform on Saturday is where we're going to have a lot of activities that are based on the guardian/adult that shows up with that youth, so we can have these conversations. Tell me your stories. Help me understand what is a healthy relationship. If a guy does this to me, mommy, is that okay versus that? We were even in our office today, me and my college-educated interns, and we were debating some topics that we were like, whoa, is this right? Is this domestic violence? I think we called you on the phone.
You called me on the phone,
And, and it's a lot, you know? And so we keep talking to our girls about being safer and just learning to make better decisions. But you know what? We also need to be talking to our young men.
Absolutely. We can't exclude them. We can't exclude them.
Yeah.
And like how I was saying earlier that I do events with the young men. And it's like now they understand that they do have a voice because domestic violence was put out there like a woman's issue. So they never had a platform to even talk about all the verbal abuse and emotional abuse and some physical abuse that they go through. And then sometimes it's just not being manly, you know, to talk about it. But now that they understand that we are advocates for the victim, whether they are male or female, it has caused more men and young boys to stand up and step out and start expressing what they have been through in relationships.
But you know what's interesting is that when I was doing the research today, trying to find more case studies on young men that have been victims of domestic violence, I didn't find anything. I was trying to Google some names and no names pop up. Whereas if I go into Google and I'm like, female victims of domestic violence, a whole laundry list of names pops up. So what do you think is going on with why we couldn't find the men?
I know sometimes for me when I just try to get more men to be vocal on this platform, you know, a lot of them will share their stories with me, but when it comes to actually something being documented, they'll back out. And I think that's probably because of the stigma of what goes along with just being a man that it'll show that he's weak. I don't think they have gotten past that part yet and how their peers view them.
I mean, I definitely think it's important to note that while, you know, teen domestic violence does proportionally impact a lot of girls, that there are also a lot of girls that are the victimizers.
Yes.
And that there's a lot of young men out there that are being abused by super aggressive young ladies that don't know their boundaries either. And just because, like, you know, you're saying the young men don't speak out doesn't mean it's not happening.
Absolutely.
And that goes back to the whole platform, which means just because your teen is not coming to you to say, Mommy, so-and-so is hitting me, doesn't mean it's not happening. Have the conversation, but create a safe environment so that that child knows they can come to you if truly there was an issue going on.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm telling you, even with the young men, I remember one time I had met this guy. He had gotten stabbed 16 times by his girlfriend. And his justification is that, well, she was just mad at me. He didn't want to file any charges against her because he still said that was going to be his girlfriend. You know, it's that whole victim mentality. It's just that it was a man talking, but I've heard it so many times from women. But it was just a man speaking on it, you know.
That just breaks my heart. That's just so sad. You know, there's a victim. Anytime there's a domestic violence situation, especially amongst our peers, our teens, it's just two families are ruined simultaneously.
Absolutely.
You know, two families, and it's not worth it. Something just a little bit of education and confidence building and just, you know, anger,
and that is so huge. And I'll tell
Yes.
the teens so many times with me sharing my story, and I tell them about that anger piece and being able to control your emotions. Is that you have to get on top of that and being able to understand your triggers and what gets you so angry and deal with that. Because if you lash out and you hurt somebody, I guarantee you in that jail cell, your mind will come up with 100 different ways if you could have did something different.
Right.
When you have that time. So it's best to learn how to have that time on the front end to being able to deal with your anger, deal with your triggers, and knowing when to walk away.
Yeah. And I think that's the toughest part because, you know, what does statistics tell us? The most dangerous time in a relationship is when we decide to walk away.
To walk away. That's why we have to have a plan.
That was it.
We have to have a plan. You can't just walk away. I had Tamara on the show last week, and she said something to the audience. She was saying that if you're not ready to leave, then if it means that you have to cook him his particular meal, then do it. And then so she said, I know that probably went over a lot of you guys' head. And she said, but if you're not ready to leave, then you have to do the things that they ask you to do, so you won't have that anger and those fights and everything that you're not ready to deal with. You know what I'm saying? You're not ready, so just go ahead and do what you have to do. And then if you want to leave that relationship, make sure that you never tell your abuser that you are going to leave them, and work on a plan, a safety plan. You have to have a safety plan to get out.
But the safety plan piece, does that only work if we live together? Now, these are teenagers.
Only if you live together, exactly.
Right, so we're teenagers. We don't live together.
So
how do I walk away?
Teenagers is different. Teenagers have to get the parents involved. It has the victim's parents, the abuser's parents. You have to also bring in law enforcement. Mm-hmm. And so they will go along the lines of what we do when people are stalking people. Mm-hmm. Get you a protection order to stay away and things of that nature.
But it's still just a piece of paper.
It's still a piece of paper. I have even met women who have had protection orders in place, and we know how so many people violate those pieces of paper all the time, because it was created to be a deterrent.
Yeah.
But now people are like, I'm not afraid of that, but I'll get you by the time they catch up with me, you be gone.
Yeah.
So that's why it's important for us in what we're doing to be able to instill in them their value system, their self-worth, and all of those good things, so that in the beginning, when they meet people and they start exhibiting some of these red flags, what we call, we will stop turning a deaf ear to it and a blind eye, and recognizing it for really what it is.
Yeah. The sad part is that a lot of adults still think those are just teenage issues. Mm-mm. They still think, well, it's just kids being kids. It's nothing serious. But I think it's worth a conversation.
It is serious. And it starts, and you know what? It starts very young with that, what you just said, because I remember being in elementary school and with school teachers. Mm-hmm. You'll have a young boy and a young girl in school, and a little boy, he pulls the little girl hair or pushes her down. Mm-hmm. And I remember teachers would say, well, he just like you. Mm-hmm. He just likes you. He don't know how to express himself. So when I was looking at that, I said, you know what? We as young girls, we're taught very early on to accept physical abuse as love, because someone does not know how to express themselves. And then so in talking to other people, I even had my co-host, she works in the school system now, and her daughter just dealt with the same thing last year. A teacher said the same exact thing to her when she went to the school to talk about a little boy hitting her 5-year-old daughter. And the teacher said that same exact thing out of her mouth.
What did she respond?
She said, don't you dare tell me that. She said, I am a domestic violence advocate. She said, if he likes my daughter, have him carry her books. Mm-hmm. Give him something else to do, but don't tell him or me or my child that he likes her. That's why he's abusing her. Because that grows up with you.
Mm-hmm. And that reinforces it for him.
Absolutely.
It's okay to hit them. They like that. They smile. Mm-hmm.
How many times have we heard men say that she liked when I beat on her? That's the only time she feels as though I love her.
No, I've actually heard women saying that. I remember when I was in college, and I had this friend, and she would just file her nails into the little sharp thing because she knew she was going to go home and get in a fight. Mm-hmm. And she'd be like, if your man ain't beating you, he don't love you. I was like, yeah.
Yeah, heard that a lot.
No, that's heard that a lot. For me. But again, it's how they're raised. Mm-hmm. It's the lack of knowledge of what the statistics are, and they just feel like this is what I grew up with. This is all that they know. So we can break the cycle. We have it within us. Communication is key. We have to get the kids talking, not just us talking. These kids have to start talking. Absolutely. And then they have to talk to each other.
Yes.
All right, because I think when the girls decide enough is enough, when the kids collectively decide enough is enough, you're going to start seeing this going away, you know, in little bits and pieces, because they'll now know what to do. But sometimes in our quest to want to protect our children from the evils of the world, we keep certain information from them that's really critical to their existence.
Yes.
Like domestic violence.
Yes.
You know, we don't talk about that. And the more we don't talk about that, the more we are setting them up, because they're going to fall in love. And by the time they fall in love, it's too late.
It's too late.
They don't know, and they're willing to try to do whatever it takes for the name of love, because they want to try to sustain a relationship.
Absolutely. And we also have to be able to teach them how to be a friend to a victim and to the abuser. You know, at some point, you know, because I remember growing up where we used to see so much abuse, you know, with men. You never really seen anybody stand up to them to say, yeah, you know this ain't right. Come on, let's do. Or even if this is a friend of yours, to let them know, listen, I can't be with you and this is what you are doing. You know, to stand up to it and just call it for what it is, and let them know, listen, you need some help. That's not right.
Yeah, but I don't think men who hit tell other guys that they hit.
Well, these men actually seen it.
And they didn't say anything?
I'm telling you, let me tell you, Veronica, I'm serious. When in my early 20s and dating and stuff, I tell people this story all the time. Me and my group of girlfriends, we used to always get together, couple dating. That's all we did. We stayed in bad relationships. So all we did was couple date all the time, right? And so it used to get so bad, we used to always say, well, what couple is going to fight this weekend? And in that room where it's all other men that's doing the exact same thing, of course everybody will break it up, but nobody is telling him to say, this is not right.
Because they're doing it.
Exactly. This is what you do. Nothing.
They're doing it.
Not exactly.
Yeah. No, we just got to get better. That's not love, you know.
It's not love.
We have to get better at understanding what love is and is not, what a healthy relationship should look like. And even if you're like, I didn't grow up in a household where we hugged, I didn't grow in a household where we said I love you, you can still self-educate. You can still learn. You can go to men's group. You can confess your sins and get the help that you need. You know, but keeping it bottled inside, that's not healthy. Yeah. And then unfortunately, the next person that, you know, you fall into a relationship with, they're unfortunately the next person that bears the grunt of your lack of knowledge of what a healthy relationship should look like.
Absolutely.
So,
and just because you didn't grow up with it in the household, you know what you needed. You knew what you was lacking. Right. You knew what you wanted from your parents or guardian. You know, you knew that. So you got to be able to take that, like you said, educate yourself and be able to teach the younger generation around you, because you can't just sit and wait for programs like ours to come. You may not get that chance. And that's why even within our programs of how we do it, we teach them enough so that they can go back into their own homes and start to make the change.
That's it.
That's what we want to see.
I mean, our whole platform is teaching the kids, because these kids, they know the decision. They know what they need to do, but they may not have all the knowledge. So our job is to empower them to be able to go out there and share that knowledge confidently. So when we're doing what we do, we don't sit around and tell them how to do it and what to do. That's not the key. They'll never retain that. We have to get them involved in the process, the decision making, the policy making, the advocacy making. So when they feel like they are part of that solution, they can start to eradicate the problem collectively.
Absolutely.
So I'm super excited. Saturday is going to be such a powerful, powerful day. So if you miss it, I'm sorry. But if you're able to come out and join us, you will have an amazing, amazing time.
Yes, and we have an amazing host.
We do.
We have an amazing host, and you guys know she is a powerful advocate here in the DMV. We're going to have Queen Afee there. She's going to be doing her whole powerful presentation with domestic violence wear many tags. And as many of you know, because we have had her here on the show too, that with her out here doing domestic violence, this work, that her own daughter became a victim of domestic violence. And so that just goes to show you how real it is.
It really is.
Because she was working in the field. Her daughter would be at different teen dating violence events and domestic violence events working with her mom, and she still end up becoming a victim of domestic violence because of that whole piece of, somehow when we're in these relationships, we think that it can't happen to us.
It can't happen to us. That's for those other kids.
Yeah. Oh, no. He loved me more than what her boyfriend ain't love her. But I know that he loves me. He's just a little angry because, he got a lot of things going on.
Yeah, so basically everyone that's working with us on Saturday is a survivor of domestic violence. So we will have really powerful teen speakers that are sharing their teen domestic violence scenarios. We also have a man that's coming out to share his domestic violence scenario with his ex-girlfriend. So I'm just really excited. Prince George's County Police Department will be on site, and they're going to share what the county's stand is on domestic violence and how they handle that at a teen level. So of course you'll be there. So
Yes.
I'm super, super excited at the level of information.
Absolutely.
Now we have a lot of hands-on activities taking place. I was telling you about our passport to healthier relationships.
Yes. Oh,
so
my
I'm
God.
super excited about that. So everyone will get their copy. Yeah.
Y'all, I'm telling you, you're going to definitely... Is it going to be videotaped?
I don't know. I don't have that kind of time.
Well, we know we're going to have some amazing pictures.
Stills and we'll
We're going to have
probably
some
have
amazing
little
pictures.
segments, but I don't know if we're recording the whole thing and then have to edit it. I don't know all of that, but
Well, I'm telling you
Yeah.
guys, it's going to be powerful. And you guys have definitely going to have to team up with my girlfriend's house because
And
I
not
just
run
see
away.
this growing on such a major
yeah.
platform of what we're dealing with. Now, guys, it's time. Please join forces with them. They're doing such amazing work in the community. And I'm telling you, if you have time to dedicate some time for a mentor,
Aw,
what
you're
does
so
that look
sweet.
like? If you wanted to be a mentor, because sometimes they'll say, well, you come out and mentor once a month or once every 2 months.
Yeah, so if you want to be a mentor, we only accept group mentors. Okay, so
Okay.
that's the first rule. We tried
Okay.
that one person process, but unfortunately life happens and they just don't show up when they're
Yeah.
supposed to. So now we only accept groups. So if you are part of a social group, a church group, a work group, a sorority group, then you would approach us as a group to ask to be a volunteer. And the commitment level is 12 months, one dedicated Saturday per month. Mentoring is an all-day commitment, but again, when you're a life coach, you're not there for just a couple of hours. You're there for the duration because these girls start to look forward to you. We have a fully developed curriculum already, so we feed that to you. So there's really nothing you would have to do except bring that workshop to life for us and continue to add your personality so that the girls can identify with you and connect with you.
Absolutely. I'm
You
telling
know.
y'all, she is amazing. She do everything. She do it all.
We've been doing this for a while, so we got this down to a science. I mean, again, it takes a village to raise a child. So, if you're interested in being a member of the village, just, give us a call at 301-560-0506 or visit us online at www.mygirlfriendshouse.org. We're in Capitol Heights, so we're always there.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I was trying to think of who else is going to be there this weekend.
There's a lot of people. You guys just got to come out and see. I mean, we have a lot of really powerful speakers. We have like 7 speakers that are all sharing little bits and pieces of their lives. Very interactive. The food. I'm looking forward to the food.
The food is going to be delicious.
Yes.
We are all ready to
Okay.
go.
We have Diva Bartending is donated their whole bartending services, so they'll be making all the drinks for the moms and the drinks for the kids. So that's really, really heaven sent. I mean, there's just so many hands.
So let me just ask you this question real quick.
Go ahead,
For
go
all
ahead.
the moms that will be joining us, what can they expect from this day?
I think the moms can expect a really amazing conversation with their daughters. I think this is a topic we do not talk to our kids about. Or even if you do, your kids are not talking back. Trust me, I know, because I've seen enough of those kids in our programs. So through this day, we've tried to make it to where it's really fun, it's high energy, it's a lot of information, but all of it brings it back to where you are forced to kind of work together in tandem to solve certain things. Like, for instance, our passport to healthy relationships requires the cooperation of an adult and a youth to go around the room to solve some of these issues, which will then add to a more meaningful dialogue between the two of you. And so those are the kind of activities that we're hoping to really, really share. And then we're also hoping that when you hear the stories of some of the teenagers that are not able to be with us because because somebody loved them too much. You know, it'll provoke a meaningful dialogue. Do not show up because you feel the day is going to be too intense for your daughter. That's part of our problem. We need to have these intense conversations because whether you like it or not, as a mom, life is happening, okay? And your daughter is smack in the middle of all of that. So until we give her those tools and we have those really tough conversations, the streets will have those for her. So again, that's what I'm really hoping the moms come out and they just come with an open heart. There's going to be a lot of really sensitive stories, but also a lot of powerful information and good music and good information to keep the mood up as we continue to educate ourselves and our kids.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for that. And so also, give out your social media. How can they follow you on social media?
I'm not a very social media kind of person. We have a Twitter account. We have an Instagram account, but that's managed by our interns. And we have a Facebook account. You can find us online at Facebook, My Girlfriend's House, Inc. And I think also on Twitter, it's My Girlfriend's House, Inc. And on Instagram, I think it's all the same. But either way, if you get confused, just go to our website, which is www.mygirlfriendshouse.org. And right on that homepage, you'll see all of our social media tags, and you can just click on it to be to your platform you want.
Absolutely. And like and follow My Girlfriend's House and all the remarkable work that they're doing in the community. So I just want to thank you for being here.
I want to thank you for having me.
I am so happy of the relationship and the partnership and everything. I am excited.
I am too.
I am
Thank you
excited
so
that we
much.
have joined forces, and I just can't wait to see the outcome because I know we're going to get some remarkable stories out of this.
Yeah.
Some transformations.
Yeah.
Some
I'm super excited.
Yes. Y'all see we all giddy, right? So guys, I want to thank you for joining us tonight. You know, you can follow me on Instagram and Facebook at MBA Speaks, and also my website, mbaspeaks.com. We will be back next Monday, the same time, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And as always, we want to thank our sponsors. We want to thank Manly's Blended Family and also the Lakeisha Brown Foundation for making this happen week after week. So until next time, have a great evening. God bless.
God bless
Good night.
you. See you Saturday. Bye.
It's that time of year again, filled with family, gifts, and lots of holiday cheer. Well, this season, give the gift of love. Donate a gently used or new coat to a family in need. It's the second Vox Wave annual coat drive. That's right, there's still time to get off of Santa's naughty list after November 1st. Come on down to Vox Wave at 4711 Off Place, Suitland, Maryland. Drop off that old coat and help us at Vox Wave keep the less fortunate warm this winter. Donate at 4711 Off Place, Suitland, Maryland. It's the second Vox Wave annual coat drive.
Tuesday night.